Day 7, a church that worships. We'll begin by reading Psalms 95, verse 6. Come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. Self-explanatory. The verse is straightforward. We're being told to come and worship God. Being called to worship. Come, let us worship. And there's some action. We're kneeling down, but main thing is we're being called to worship. Now, the focus of today's presentation is unregular worship. When was the last time you knelt down before the Lord to worship? Or was it yesterday, last week, a month ago, before the exams, praying for clarity, of course, or when the results were published, when you're praying for your marks to be high? You know better. But for most of us, maybe we actually didn't do any devotion today. Did you have a morning devotion? Oh, I did not. I am not proud. Oh, but I did not. Unregular worship means that we're not worshiping regularly. Worship once in a while. Yeah. And most of us are guilty of this. So guilty. Some of you might be wondering what worship is. Or it may be obvious to some of you, but I will repeat it anyway. There's no harm done in repetition. Those who knew will know more, and those who didn't know will just know. So let's focus on what worship is, and then after knowing what worship is, then we'll be able to understand the context of unregular worship. We'll all be on the same page. Why we don't worship regularly and how we can fix this. At the end of this presentation, we shall know why we are engaging in unregular worship and how we can get back on track in the last days. So, worship is the way we show our love for God. With that being said, let's look at Matthew 22, verse 37 to 40. So it was after Jesus had been asked by someone in the Bible what the most important commandment was. Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So this didn't cancel the other commandments. It summarized them. So all the duties of the Christian life, your duties as a Christian, my duties as a Christian, all the commandments, all the rules of conduct can be summarized into two principles: love towards God and love towards your neighbor as you love yourself. So talking about love, previously I was saying worship is how we show our love for God, and all the 10 commandments were summarized into showing your love into loving God and loving your neighbor as you love yourself. So worship is how we show our love for God. So worship is following the commandments, right? So since Jesus said that the greatest commandment is to love God, the purpose of life should be to love God with all our strength and all our understanding. And what does loving God mean? Loving God means worshiping Him, since the way we show God our love is by worship. So what I'm saying is we are putting God as the center of our lives. It means we are no longer concerned with our own interests. We no longer live for ourselves, but rather we live for God. So that's what worship is. Worship is how you show your love for God. Your purpose, your life purpose is to love God with all your strength now. And you're putting God at the center of your life. Not so concerned with your own interests, okay, with the K drama and all the nice video games, whatever your interests are, or eating. Yeah, you've put aside all those shiny little things of this earth, and you're no longer living for yourself, but rather you're living for God. That's what worship is. Showing your love for God through worship, which is by definition what worship is. So, though, well, I guess you understand what worship is now. More practically, how can we worship God? Well, there are many ways that we can worship God. We can worship God through our actions. Okay, just read a verse. 1 Corinthians 10 verse 31. Whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever you do, do all to the glory of God. So to do everything for the glory of God means to worship Him in all things. Okay, when you wake up, do it for the glory of God. When you're talking, don't just speak crap at the back of your head. As a Christian, it should be there at the back of your head that you're doing everything for the glory of God. That way, you're not going to say stupid things. Everything that you say is going to be in the direction of praising God. That's what worship is. So true worship is comprehensive and includes all aspects of life. And the true worshiper does not glorify God in church service only, but God is at the center of their lives every day. That's as practical as I can get. If you did not get that, well, I don't know, but that's the best I could do. With that being said, our problem today is not about worship. Our problem is unregular worship. What does that mean? It means that you're not worshiping regularly. You're not putting God at the center of your life. Sometimes He's at the center of your life, sometimes He's not. Well, yeah, so that is a problem. And like I said, most of us are guilty. And why are most of us guilty? Why are the majority of the SDAs guilty of unregular worship? Let me give you a few statistics so that we're on the same page. About the statistics done in 2018, a world survey of Seventh-day Adventists. 2018 is not too far, so this information is very valid. Only 34% of Adventist homes are engaging in regular morning and evening worship. That is very low, way below half. Only 34%. I wonder if are you guys, are we in the 34%? I doubt that. And then only 52% of church members have any personal devotions at all. Personal devotions, not family ones, just personal devotions, 52%. Well, you might say, well, that's 52%. Oh, that's above 50%, but this is not a university grade or something of sorts. This is not some kind of survival you're doing in a course at school. This is worship. This is the purpose of our lives as Christians. This is what we do. Worship is at the center of Christianity, and only 52% of church members have a personal devotion at all. That is too low. And to top it off, the church with the end time message centered on worship only has 52% of members having personal devotion. That is unacceptable. Guys, we need to get serious and step up our game. Now, we see that the statistics are bad, but why are they bad? Why are we not worshiping regularly? Why is almost more than half of the SDA community not involving in regular worship? Well, there's a lot of stuff, there are a lot of distractions in this world, and that is my focus for today. I'm going to be listing all the distractions that lead to unregular worship and how we can distractions that lead to unregular worship. We're going to start with media. Another big one is the media. This is probably one of the biggest distractions for me personally. In just the other night, not really night, evening, I say to myself, you know what, let me just read the Bible. So you know what, wait, before I read the Bible, let me just check out a few Instagram posts just to see what people have been up to. What are the UCG people doing? There might be something new. Oh, and that's the trick. This whole may be something new. Of course, there's gonna be something new on Instagram, but it's not going to be like so new and so amazing, so extraordinary that I need to give stop, go see it, and then come back to read the Bible. So new that I need to stop reading the Bible for that. That is a trap. There's always this. You always have this feeling you don't want to miss out. You want to see what's going on social media. You just want to see. So I gave in. I took that phone, checked the posts. Yeah, crazy confessions as usual. Found myself scrolling down to see the older ones, so-called catching up. Yeah, we call it catching up on nonsense. And before I knew it, time passed and there was no more time it was not my bedtime. There was no more time for me to read the Bible. I had spent all of it on Instagram. Good old Instagram. That's what social media does. It takes your time. The time that you're supposed to allocate to whatever worship activity you're going to do, which reading my Bible in my case, I don't know, maybe yours was maybe you're going to sing or write a song, I don't know what you're going to do. But it takes your time. You get distracted. You don't in the place of worship, you put social media, so that's how it distracts you. It's so easy to get caught up in the media. When I say media, I'm referring to the internet, TV, movies, music, or talking about music. There's a tendency to want to do something while listening to music, and before you know it, you are listening to music and not doing that something. And what kind of music are you listening to? We should be careful what kind of music we listen to. Is that music doing anything for the glory of God? Video games, newspapers, magazines, all of it. You can get easily caught up in the media. Everywhere we turn, some sort of media is right in our face. And the worst part of it, it's littered with filth, especially especially on those illegal sites where we like to get our movies and stuff, since the Netflix subscription is a waste of money. Just adverts on petty bad things being littered everywhere. Even those YouTube ads. Distraction. Believe it or not, but one of those YouTube ads totally got me the other time. I found myself already on their website checking out their stuff, and I was already crazy about something that I didn't care about a few minutes before. So we need to be careful what we watch. We should be in control. Okay, you need to give up stuff, honestly. Okay, give up Facebook. Okay, most of us are not on Facebook, which is good. You can even give up Instagram, honestly, unless if you're a social media director. But you can give up some of these things, or control. Be the one in control. What are you watching? What are you listening to? You need to decide those things on your own. You need to be in control, because you end up worshipping the stuff you're watching or the stuff you're listening to. Second major distraction that leads to unregular worship that I'm going to be discussing is relationships. Every kind of relationship falls into this category. Friends, parents, siblings, spouses, if you have one, boyfriends, girlfriends, children. Who has? Yeah, your children. Co-workers, I don't have any yet, and I don't have a boss. The list goes on. We can allow any of these relationships to distract us from God. You are so busy trying to please your boss, you've got no time to go to church. You need to work overtime, so you work on that Saturday. You are trying to impress your friends, so they have got a party Friday night. You miss first pass for the party, leaving a worship activity because of relationships. Exactly. That can be a distraction, but no, I have not yet gotten to the bottom of this. The biggest bad, it's not bad, but it can be a major distraction. Which kind of relationship is a major distraction? The romantic one. Boyfriend, girlfriend, the romance. And most of us are in these types of relationships. So I'm not trying to scare you, tell you to hop out of them, but just be vigilant. girlfriend, boyfriend, or spouse relationships are dangerous when it comes to distracting us from worship. These relationships demand the most time, and that's why it's extremely important that they be God-centered. If they aren't, we'll see our walk with Him spiral downward. So distracting. Oh, romance. You, even without doing anything, just your thoughts. Instead of, you're in church, yeah, you can be in church, but oh my God, you are thinking about your girlfriend. You're thinking about, that last time when you guys went to that nice restaurant at Musenberg and the music was so slow. And you still remember that dance that you did? Yeah, there were couples dancing and you guys also had that dance, and you're there in Musenberg dancing whilst you're seated in church. That is a major distraction. You are diverging from a worship to think about your romantic relationship, or being so caught up in the relationship that you don't go to church. Oh, it's Saturday. Oh, come on. Or we can just go on a date or something. Just the two of us. We haven't had much time this week. There were so many tutorials and stuff. I had 2 tests this week. It was so stressful. We can just go away where there's nobody else and enjoy some time alone from the world. So you tell yourself. So you tell each other in your romantic relationship, and you keep on getting further and further away from worship. Before you know it, you're no longer thinking about anything God related. Your world is revolving around your boyfriend or girlfriend. They've become the center of your life. Everything you do, you're thinking about, oh, today I'm going to see my girl. I better put on this blue shirt. And you don't realize that it's Friday night. They can be a very, very big distraction. What is the solution? The solution is to make your romantic relationship should be God-centered. Your partner should also be into the idea of putting God first, into the idea of worship, so that you guys can maybe worship together, or go to worship together, or read the Bible together, or sing songs of praise together, even conduct your relationship in a way that brings glory to God. Be sober and vigilant. I'm sure the Bible says something about that. The devil is not playing games. We need to be sober and vigilant, and do not let your romance or any other relationship get in the way of worship. The third distraction that leads to unregular worship that I'm going to talk about is our studies. Yes, we want to graduate, we want to be successful, we want to get jobs or start our own thing. The main thing being we want to be successful. But may we not let that distract us from worship, from showing our love for God, which is by definition the very purpose of our life. May we not put good grades and studies as the purpose of our lives and God is a substitute, because that is not our life's purpose. With or without studies, with or without the degree, we still love God, don't we? We do. So let us not get too swept up in studying that we forget to worship, to show our love for God, to read our Bibles, to devote time for God, making the center of our lives. Everything we do, we should do to glorify God. Have this mindset. When you're studying, do it so as to glorify God. Don't make worship a small substitute thing. It's a very big part of your life. In fact, take worship as your life, and then you also study. That's a good mindset to have. With that being said, the main thing in all these three distractions: the relationships, yes, the romance, the social media, Netflix, and those video games, our studies, yes, engineering, accounting, whatever it is that you're doing, the best way to avoid all these distractions is to be alert, to be vigilant, sober. Let me look for the verse. Yes, I found the verse. It's 1 Peter 5 verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, is a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. So the bottom line to all this is to be vigilant and sober. The three distractions, I only mentioned three distractions, but there are many more. You know what distracts you, you know better. Be vigilant and pray to God for strength, okay, to overcome some of these distractions, because we cannot do it alone. That verse actually sums up how three of those problems that I was talking about. Most of those distractions are basically the root cause is lack of vigilance. You're being so sloppy, you allow yourself to drift off on social media. No, we need to be vigilant. So that's to conclude it all. The statistics that I read to you earlier before were very disappointing. It is not, we cannot be proud of that. So 2023, a new year, let us focus on worship, show our love for God, make God the center of our lives, do everything to glorify God, and be vigilant, because temptations will come. Okay, the verse said it, self-explanatory. The verse said it. Whatever we do, whether we're doing some, I don't know, whatever activities we're going to do next year, whatever activity you're doing, at the back of your mind as a Christian, you should be asking yourself, is this glorifying the Lord? Is it? Because your whole waking life, you're worshiping. Everything that you do, be it eating, drinking, should be done for the glory of God. So what you're doing, are you doing it to glorify God, or we're having a little sadism activity? Is it to the glory of God? Oh, now I'm leaving church. Where am I going? Am I going to a place where I'm going to glorify God, or what am I thinking? These thoughts of mine, do they glorify the Lord? And also to have a regular devotion time set aside specifically for reading God's words. So learn more about this God that you love, because I'm sure by now you understand the whole concept, definition of worship. Read. You all read these nice novels and stuff. Spend nights reading textbooks and studying for exams. Have some interest. You cannot love something you're not interested in. Have some interest for what God is all about. Read the Bible. You can read it over and over again. It won't kill you. Just get more knowledge. Anything that you can get, the quarterlies and all that, we should be reading and able to answer anything about the Lord that we serve, or the Lord that we love. With that being said, I'm going to end off this presentation with some, I don't know, there's an SDA song suggestion, so I'm going to do it. I need thee every hour. So I'm going to play my basic guitar. I need thee every hour, most gracious Lord. No tender voice like thine can peace afford. I need thee, oh, I need thee every hour. I need thee.
Savior, I